when you're flying in the lead.
What's that?
Bruce Goldsmith and Icaristics in cross country had a good article about flying in the lead. Because the reality is that as you get more experience, like the newer pilots, you shouldn't be flying in the lead for a while, right? Like whenever, even if it's like only 5 or 10 Ks of lead, you know, it can have be more active air. You might have to deal with a collapse, you know, and you want to feel comfortable doing that. Like, you know, when you're flying big routes in the mountains, I would say if you fly a big distance, 200 or 300 Ks, you're almost certainly in the lead at some point. And you're probably thermaling in the lead and liking it, going, all right, this is the best climb of the day. But it's more advanced, you know. It's something you have to be prepared to lose your glider and not panic, you know.
Which is like that. So that lead, if you're well protected, in a properly protected lead, you're going to be fine. It's the edges of those leads or the partial leads where you get the nasty things.
And so you have to look at things like that's why I'll be looking at things like the RASP, you know, like how much wind is there supposed to be up there. The RASP is usually somewhat close, you know. And I'll look on, like, there's another one that I use all the time, you know, especially if I'm in a place where Canada RASP doesn't work, windy. You know, I'd really recommend you use windy. Like I've used it all over the world lately, and it uses actually you can change the models down here. This is the North American model. This is the European. This is the GFS. And I think if you go in, where is it? About this data. So it'll tell you about the model, the update interval, like how scale is this, you know, and the European model you have to pay for. Windy pays quite a bit of money to get that European data. The GFS data is free, but the European data is probably better than the American one.
Does the European data kind of calculate a little bit down below the mountaintops in the valleys a bit?
A little bit. It's not, but you could see when you look at that, it tells you the forecast model. Does it tell you the? Sometimes it'll tell you the 9 kilometers, right? So that's the grid size here.
Okay.
Right? And usually to have really good terrain information, the grid size has to be like a kilometer. Yeah. So it's not going to see things like Whistler Expresses that well. Yeah. So yeah.
I'm looking at windy a lot for the coast, and it's really accurate.
Yeah, like I used it as a coast.
Actually it shows Whistler Express.
It does show
yeah,
Whistler
it
Express.
shows Alberni wind, and it shows Whistler.
Yeah, like let's have a look then, just out of curiosity. What does it say? So the wind's at the surface right now. Let's take it through to JP coming into land tomorrow. It's not showing too much. It's a little bit more wind right now.
But you need to play it, no?
The surface?
Pull the height up a little,
On the right.
like to 100 meters or something.
Yeah, that'll probably make it a bit more accurate. He's saying pull up the height so that you're not. Yeah, I would say that's not showing it very accurately.
The North American model?
Yeah, I think I think we're right on the edge of the NAM. Right? Like you can see, you see that line?
Yeah.
That's actually because the NAM stops there. And when you're near the edges of forecast models, the accuracy goes way down.
Which model does the wind use?
Windy? It uses the Canadian HRGPS data. So, but like I look at these things because especially up high, right? Like the localized really small flows, you kind of have to figure out yourself, right? It's just too micro. To get a lot of data, like smoke, valleys, what your glider is doing, all that stuff is going to tell you that stuff better. But I look at this stuff because I'm like, okay, what's going to happen? Because, you know, I go to a height, like for Pemberton, I go to 3,000 meters a lot, right? Because I want to know what it's doing up at a good day height, you know? And if I'm flying and I'm trying to stay high, going over things, what kind of wind do I have? You know?
Yeah, and tomorrow looks like 3,600 or more.
Yeah, like look at this. Like this is blue. Like that's at 9 p.m. Let's look at a more flying time. But like that's nice and light, right? So like when you see that, it gives you a lot more options. Like, you know, if you don't want to ignore strong winds, if strong winds are about, even if they're higher than you expect to fly, like if it's nuking at 4,200 meters, that's never a good sign. Like you almost never have good days when the wind is like not that far above, but like, you know, a couple thousand meters. If it's really strong up there, it almost always mixes down a little bit, makes the day feel funky, or it's almost never a good sign. And the other thing, like in the Rockies especially, like thunderstorms, like if you go to the Willie this year, great place to fly. It's big mountain flying, but be really, really cautious in the Rocky Mountain Trench about thunderstorms and gust fronts. You know, like anyone who's been to the Willie has been in the landing zone, and the gust front comes through, and you're like, holy smoke, right? There's like people's leading edges looking like they're trailing edges as they're getting blown down the valley, right? So you really, and like you can get hit by a thunderstorm in the Rocky Mountain Trench because it's a long linear feature, so it can dump down at Invermere, and the gust front will come up the valley, and people will get on the phone sometimes and call people and say, hey, I'm in Parson, it just blew a tree over in my yard. You guys shouldn't be flying. And people will be like floating around above the landing zone in Golden in 10k an hour wind. And sure enough, 20 minutes later.
Remember Revelstoke?
Sorry?
Remember Revelstoke?
Yeah.
So that would be a better option to land higher up then.
It might be, but it has to be, gust fronts, depends on the gust front, but you know, you'd have to be up high, you know, and it could also bring other weather with it. Like sometimes you just get the gust and the cloud's way over there. Sometimes it means rain's coming as well. But if you have to paste it in, like if you're up really high and you can't lose that altitude, because especially as the gust front comes in, it often makes it really lifty. So getting down is hard. And if you're at a meadow and you're like, yeah, put her down, that could be a good option for sure. If you're like, oh, I'm only 100 meters over this meadow, everyone in the LZ is going, this is ridiculous. Do it, pull a quick top land, even if you have to wait out some rain, that could be a good call.
Do you use medial blue also?
I do, yeah. I do find Medio Blue kind of useful. I actually use it mostly as just a general forecasting. Like, my forecasting is basically pretty basic. I'll look at the general Canadian forecast, the Environment Canada, because I find it's not super hopeful like some of the more basic ones seem to be just like, it'll be sunny all the time. Yeah. So I use Environment Canada. I don't really want to look out usually much past 5 days because the accuracy just goes whoosh. But I'll look at Medio Blue for that purpose when I'm not in Canada. And I just want to see, are they forecasting thunderstorms? Are they forecasting a lot of sun? You know, just a general idea. And then I'll look at the flying forecasts. And windy I find is useful for trying to get the wind, like, okay, it might be a nice sounding day, but is it nuking? Is it strong wind? Is it one of those high pressures where it's just too windy to fly? Right? So.
Is this live on the internet? You can. Let's check out Pemberton tomorrow exactly.
This is for tomorrow.
That is for tomorrow in Pemberton.
Saturday at 3 p.m.
Well, it looks damn perfect.
Yeah, it does. It does.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Where are we going?
Get going.
Hey, I'm ready. I'm packed actually.
I'm coming with you. Let's go.
Sleep at the LZ.
And we sleep at the hot springs. No problem.
I texted it to you. I don't know if that doesn't.
I haven't been to those hot springs.
Here we go.
Yeah, perfect.
So here's that quick Avery thing, just to give me a. And if you guys, if you're curious about something on this, just we'll stop it. But let me know what you want to see.
This is Woodsall.
Yeah. So this is launched. There's the South Knoll down there.
The cool thing about this program is you can spin it and look at the other view.
Ah, yes.
Yeah,
How do you do that with the keyboard?
Right, just drag it.
Yeah,
Or just drag it?
click and drag. So you can see, yeah.
So you have
And you can
the
zoom
classic
out.
southwest
You can
wind.
zoom in, out, and see the wind direction.
Yeah, but you
So
see the
perfect.
classic southwest wind.
Not good.
So I think this day I might have gone over to Sasquatch. Looks like I'm on my way.
Yeah, let's
Oh, you are right, really high.
click on the stats.
Yeah, click on the stats too. So this is a great tool.
Oh, you are right, really high.
Yeah, so then we can see.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's much better. Yeah.
Slow down a bit.
And so
and you can.
yeah, this is the day I kind of decided that I didn't want to go that way for whatever reason.
Doesn't look about this program. This is so
I'll have you fly fast.
Yeah, that's how he does the triangles.
You can see when the climbs are good because they look more like corkscrews.
Are you on full bar or just half or?
No, like I gotta admit, I'm pretty much a half to 2/3 bar when it's strong, just because I think on almost every glider. So now we're getting, this is Agassiz Mountain here, guys, and that's Bear over there for the ones who aren't recognizing this, and that's that Harrison Lake where you gotta watch out for the north wind. I think this is.
That's exactly where I got
Yeah.
subbed off. Yeah.
So let's see which day this is.
Yeah, so I went around the corner and actually back. What's the next one back again?
That's his Hicks over
Hicks,
here.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
So I crossed over with some pretty, yeah, it was gnarly.
Yeah.
You lost me in power.
So yeah, this
1,000 meters.
Yeah, this I think this is the one.
That's the little drifty point.
Where I was like,
Yeah.
what was that?
Oh, this is the one we did look at. Yeah, already.
I'm trying to see the gullies now. Like there's a second gully.
I don't know what this white stuff is over here. It's like they're.
It's the cloud cluster.
You can see this is a classic place to climb up. How do you pause? Just there?
Just click it in.
If you do have to land here, which I really don't recommend.
You can also zoom in and out on the, just by scrolling.
Can you show me how to look at the highway? Okay, there it is. Right. So.
So if you need to zoom out, you should just be able to double.
There it is.
Alright. But I also want to look straight down at the highway. And how do you hold it?
That's the trick. You have to just hold it.
Okay.
That's the trick.
You have to kite them up with it.
You have to kite it.
Yeah. So basically, if you're gonna land, you gotta land right under where my red track crosses the highway there. Right? There's actually a really Jingus LZ in between the highways. Or
In between.